Do I believe it's possible to reverse the aging process? I don't believe it. I know it's the truth. I know it happens to be true. So when I wrote my first book, I'd met someone called Ellen Langer, who is a fascinating woman, and she'd written a book called Mindfulness. And she did an experiment. So in the 70s, she took a group of men and women who were about 80 years old, and she took them to a retreat, and it was called a closed retreat, which means it was like a hotel or a country house. But they changed it. They made everything in this house look like it was from the 50s. So every piece of furniture, every picture, every newspaper, every piped in song or television program was from the 50s. And what happened is, before these people went in, they measured their grip, their muscle, even the length of their fingers, their vision, their hearing, their balance. And they found that being in this retreat for 1 week caused them all to reverse aging by up to 15 years in a week. And this was so fascinating. We said, oh, well, it's because they went to a retreat and they relaxed. They went, you know, maybe that's true. So they took another group to exactly the same place, except it wasn't set up to look like the 50s. It was set up to be in the 70s. But they still relaxed, and they didn't reverse their aging at all. In fact, some of them increased it by 3 years. So the BBC were fascinated by Ellen Langer's program and decided to repeat it. So in around about 2005, it was something like that, I'm not sure on the exact date, although I do have a great memory, they took Derek Jameson, they took some Liz Smith, who used to be in the royal family, the TV, they took some very interesting celebrities, Sylvia Sims, Dickie Jameson, and they did the same thing. They took a retreat and they made it look like it was in the 1980s, and each of them had to wear a badge with a picture of themselves from the 1980s. And before they went in, the same thing. Measured grip, vision, balance, finger length, hearing, very many other tests, and off they went for a week. And of course the same thing happened. They found that they all reversed their aging by up to 15 years in a week. But they did some interesting things. Lionel Blair was also in this show. Halfway through, because when they got there, they had to carry their own case, they had to unpack, they had to be independent. And halfway through, they brought in helpers to help them get dressed and prepare food. And they all said it made them feel so old that they dismissed the helpers. And at the end of the week, Sylvia Sims said, you know, it's changed my life so dramatically. I really thought I was living in that world of the 80s. And I did feel younger. And Derek Jameson, who couldn't hardly move, said that it had changed his life. And Dickie Bird, who'd said he was so depressed about being older, said it had changed his life. And Liz Smith went in on a walking stick, well, actually on a walking frame. And halfway through the week, she was balancing on one leg, hopping around the garden. And they all said it was incredible. But Derek Jameson said, I really did go back to that world of the 1980s. I went back. I lived, I thought I was 30 years younger, and Lionel Blair was doing some tap dancing with a group of people who were in their 30s. And of course, what this did was, it proved, because they did actually reverse their aging, even their finger length changed, their vision changed, they physically slowed down and reversed their aging dramatically in just a week. So that test that the BBC did, which you can probably still find online, was incredible, because it proved that if you think younger thoughts, you can actually make your mind and your body become younger.